What up, world? Your boy Chuck Wick, aka Charles Brown, back again with another Talking Facts. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell to get notified on all the upcoming episodes. All right, man. Back in the day, your boy Kool Moe Dee, right? The legendary Kool Moe Dee took it upon himself to make a rapper report card, right? A rapper report card. All the greatest rappers at that time, which at that time, pretty much all the greatest rappers was already out. I can't think of nobody else on this list that is a great rapper outside of J. Cole and probably Kendrick that came along in the last 20 years that we should be adding to this list. If I think hard enough, maybe I don't think Eminem's not on here, and maybe I'm trying to think who else that maybe need to make this list. But there's a serious freaking list on like Cannabis, Puffy, everybody's on here. So I'm gonna break down his entire list, right? I'm gonna let you know before we even start that he gave Lauryn Hill. It looks like Lauryn Hill and Biggie, the only A+s on the entire list. If you need to see the list, you need to. I'm gonna put it in the. It'll be up in the photo on the left of me. But you can also go online and see it because it's on Twitter. It's trending. But he did about. It looks like a good 20-something MCs, right? And I'm gonna go through every single one because I just got time today, and we're gonna talk about all of the people on this list and see if their grades add up. But like I said, Lauryn Hill and Biggie are the only A+s. Mystikal, he gave an A. Tupac, he gave an A. Method Man, he gave an A. T.H.E, he gave an A. The rest are like B's and B+ and C+. It's really no D's on here. I don't think he even bothered with, if you had a D, he didn't even bother with you. So I'm going to break down this report card, the rapper report card of the greatest MCs, the legendary. And actually, I don't know if this is the 90s because, let me see, some of these people on here, I don't know. Pun. Well, maybe this is the late 90s. Buckshots on here, Foxy. Mac 10, he did Mac 10, gave him a B. Sticky Finger. So these are the people that was hot at the time. And they all, for the most part, other than Tupac and Biggie, everybody on this list is still alive. Everybody on this list is still alive. I don't see nobody who passed away on this list outside of Tupac and Biggie, and they was murdered. So he even got Mos Def and Black Thought, and that's late 90s. That's almost 2000 right there. So Too Short. Sorry, so let's start it off. So Kool Moe Dee, legendary Kool Moe Dee, creator of Wild Wild West and a couple infamous battles. He battled Busy B. He's one of the people that made battling what it is today because he was right in the trenches of battling, and he gets his respect for what he done for the game, for the culture. And he has quite a few records that was big. He did a couple joints with Teddy Riley. He may have even done some stuff with Big Daddy Kane. I don't know, but I know Kool Moe Dee should get with the Star Trek shades on. He battled with LL Cool J. And mysteriously, LL Cool J not on this list. This is biased, this political, because he don't like LL. So he don't even have LL Cool J on this list. That's crazy. So yeah, so my Kool Moe Dee's rap, we was just an asterisk. He don't have LL Cool J on his list. So maybe he thinks LL Cool J is a C+, C- rapper, but they was beefing for so many years, I can't see him grading him fairly anyway. So we're going to minus LL from this greatest report card list, right? But let's go into it, man. Rappers report cards. So I'm going to give you the categories that he's judging on. It has vocabulary, articulation, creativity, originality, versatility, voice, the records, stage presence, sticking to themes, and innovating rhythms. And then he has an overall score at the end of that. So I'm going to give you an example. So Jay-Z is at the top of the list. He has an 82. He has an 82, which is a B. For vocabulary, he gives him a 7. So he gives him a 7. I get it. This is back in the day. Late 90s, we're going to say, right? So Jay-Z just won. Jay-Z just was entered into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. I think he's the only rapper in there, right? I could be wrong, but I think Jay-Z is the only rapper in the Songwriters Hall of Fame has nothing to do with rappers. So this guy made it into something that is above him. Like, he made it into songwriters, like Aerosmith, these kind of people, like some other stuff. And Kool Moe Dee took it upon himself to give him a 7, which technically I'm looking at the whole list, and he only gave about 5 people 7s. So he gave Jay-Z a 7. But again, at this time, Jay-Z hadn't hit his stride yet, whatever. Articulation was 9, which means he could hear you clearly what you're saying. Creativity gave him a 9. Originality gave him an 8. Versatility, he gave him a 7 because he's saying he's in the box. His voice, he gave him an 8. His records, he gave him a 10. His stage presence, he gave him a 6. So now let's be honest, and I'm looking at this, no one else he gave a 6. No other rapper on this entire list did Kool Moe Dee give a 6 to, but Jay-Z. And there was a time that people were saying Jay-Z's show was weak. And so he took a hard stance on that because giving him a 6 dropped his score way down. Had he given him something else, he would have been in a B+ or even more. So he gave him his stage presence a 6, sticking to themes a 9, and innovating rhythms a 9. So you're talking about his beats, right? Equaled that all up, he gave him an 82B. So let's go to DMX. So at this time, he was saying DMX, he gave DMX an 89, which is a B. So he gave Jay-Z an 82, gave DMX an 89. He gave him a 7 for vocabulary, a 9 for articulation, 8 for creativity, a 10 for originality, 7 for versatility. He gave Jay-Z the same thing, a 10 for voice. He says DMX has a better voice, a 9 for records. So he's saying Jay-Z edges out DMX on records. Then he gives DMX a 10 on stage presence, which kills Jay-Z. Gives them both 9s, and then he gives DMX a 10 for beats. I disagree. Like, DMX has some nice, clean beats from Swizz Beats and this and that, and it made his songs better. But Jay-Z beats was crazy back then. So I don't know. Let's see. Let's keep it moving. Jay-Z really he ain't dropped the blueprint yet either, though. Jay-Z didn't hit his prime till he had dropped the blueprint. And this wasn't yet. So I'm going to give him a pass on that. So then he goes and gives Master P, and I think I'm looking at Master P's grade. Gave him a C+, a 76, which is, let's see, there's only 2 other C pluses on here. He gave Too Short a C+, and he gave Mace a C+, and I agree with that. Master P, I don't even think he deserved a C+, to be honest with you. But he gave him a C+, he gave him a 6 on vocabulary, it should have been lower than that. He gave him a 7 on articulation, that's give or take. He gave him a 7 for creativity, a 10 for originality. You're giving Master P a 10 for originality and Jay-Z an 8? Okay. You're giving Master P a 7 for voice. No, he gave Master P for originality, he gave him a 10, he gave him a 7 for versatility, an 8 for voice, a 7 for his records, a 7 for his stage presence. He gave him a 9 for sticking to themes. I guess he's saying he's doing a drug dealer theme. And he gave him an 8 for invigorating rhythms. So total that all together, he gave him a 76, which is a C+. He really took off for vocabulary. And I agree with Master P being a C+. Depending on how you look at it, Master P is a C+ or less. Because Master P didn't really say a whole lot of stuff with his words. People related to it, but he didn't say a whole lot. All right, so now let's go. Big Pun. His vocabulary is an 8, according to Kool Moe Dee. I disagree. I think Big Pun vocabulary, the words he used some of the illest words, and he put them together very eloquently. I believe Big Pun was way better than an 8. Way better than an 8. He's at least a 10. You got to say 10 on vocabulary. But it is what it is. He gave him an 8 for vocabulary, a 7 for articulation, an 8 for creativity, 8 for originality, 8 all the way across, a 9, 8, 9, 9. He gave him an 82. So you're basically saying Big Pun and Jay-Z was the exact same MC in his opinion. So let's move on to Snoop. He gave Snoop an 87, which the shocking thing was for Snoop, he gave him a 7 for vocabulary, which he put him right there with Jay-Z and DMX. So, I mean, I guess so. And an 8 for articulation. Snoop Dogg is very well spoken. 9 for creativity, a 10 for originality, 9, 9, 8. He gave 9, 9, 9, 8, 9, 9. He gave him an 87. So basically, according to Kool Moe Dee, Snoop was an 87 and Jay-Z was an 82. Even back then, I wouldn't say Snoop was better than Jay-Z, but it is what it is. I mean, I guess it's his opinion against whatever. Snoop was a B+ and Jay was a B, right? I don't think Snoop was no better rapper than Jay-Z at the time, but Snoop was nice, but Snoop Records was really big, and Snoop was really good, but he wasn't writing better. He wasn't writing better than no Jay-Z. Come on, just come on, bro. All right, so now this is where the shocker going to be, and this is where we're going to really have a conversation. Some of this stuff I'm going to skip, because some of these people we're just not going to talk about, right? But he goes on to say Nas. He gives Nas an 84, a B+, right? I'm sorry, a B. He says Nas has a 10 for vocabulary, an 8 for articulation, 8 for creativity, an 8 for originality, 9 for versatility, 8 for voice, 8 for his records, 8 for his stage presence, 9 for sticking to themes, and an 8 for his innovating rhythms, which total that up is an 84, which is a B. So he gave Jay-Z an 82 and Nas an 84. Two of the arguably greatest MCs of our time. And I get it, this is the late 90s, but by then Nas had already dropped Illmatic. He had already dropped what's the next one? The one with Dre, Nas is coming and all that. He dropped that. Fake Thug, No Love, You Get the Slug, CB4 Gusto, that joint. And he probably had 2 more. Yeah, I think he had I Am by then. Nas had probably had 3 albums by the time he gave this list out. And he had already had the Queensbridge Project, if I'm not mistaken. So he's giving Nas an 84 and Jay-Z an 82. He's saying DMX was an 89. So at this point, he was putting DMX better than Jay-Z, Big Pun, Snoop, and Nas. And let me look down the list to see who else. Matter of fact, he's saying DMX is better than Corrupt, better than Black Thought, better than Mos Def, better than Raekwon, better than Common, better than Razzcast, better than Mace, better than Puffy, better than Cannabis, better than, no, not better than Cannabis. Yeah, better than Cannabis, better than Buckshot, better than Foxy, better than Lil Kim, better than Mac 10, better than Sticky Fingers by 1, and almost as good as Mystikal, right? So he had a lot of respect for DMX, right? Which I disagree with. I don't think DMX was I think DMX, his energy and his spirit was better than him, but he wasn't better than him lyrically. He said a lot of stuff that if you put it in somebody else's mouth, it would have been dry as hell. But the way he said a lot of stuff, you felt it. He was like, oh, he meant that. So that's what got DMX where he was. The way he said it. He was very passionate with what he said. So that's what got him up. But I don't think just the words himself on the paper was what was killing these rappers. Hell no. Absolutely not. All right, so let's keep it moving. So Lauryn Hill. I'm going to skip Corrupt because he gave Corrupt 86, a B+, which is subjective. Lauryn Hill, he gave her 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 9, 9, 9, and 10. He gave her a 97, literally. By far the best MC on this paper. No one else was close to her but Biggie at a 95. He put Lauryn Hill at a 97. So to him, Lauryn Hill was the best MC in the world at the time of this report card. It was hard to at this time. Lauryn Hill had won the Grammy with the Fugees and won the Grammy with her own stuff. No, I think she wanted just her own stuff before she. I don't think she won it with the group Fugees. I'm not sure, but I do remember the year she swept them Grammys with her own album, which wasn't all rap. It was a lot of singing, a lot of melodic tunes. It was. I believe Lauryn Hill set the stage for what we have as today as Drake, right? But it's arguably one of the best MCs that was also singing at the time. No one else was doing that. Now I get it. You're gonna say, oh, some MCs always sang, right? They always had a little bit of melodic. Grand Puba had a melodic flow. He was singing and rapping, singing. I get that, but he wasn't doing it. He was singing his hook and he was doing it, but he wasn't doing full-on songs like Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill would do a full song, singing, no rap at all, right? So it wasn't the same. So yes, we could say she was spawned from real MCs. Even Redman would sing off key and everything. He would sing, but Lauryn Hill went to another level where she could make a full record, and it was undebatable that the record was still good, even though she was a rapper. But he's saying as a well-rounded MC, Lauryn Hill was the best in the game. And it's hard to argue with that. I mean, as time went on, Lauryn Hill fell off and people came up and moved on. Like Jay-Z, Snoop, everybody moved on. They're still making quality music. Nas still making quality music to this day. They're in their 40s. And Lauryn Hill hasn't made even a record. She did the verse with Nas on King's Disease 2, which came out late last year. But other than that, no, Lauryn Hill isn't really making music at this point. So, but at the time, he rated her a 97 A+, and it was hard to defend that because a lot of guys hadn't reached their potential. All right, let's move on. He gave Keith Murray at 89, Redman at 89. He had them basically tied. Gave Ice Cube at 88. And if we're talking 90s, Ice Cube was the 90s. He didn't give Ice Cube a 10 on anything in particular, which I disagree with. He gave him 9s all the way across. He gave him a 7 on invigorating and innovating rhythms. I disagree with all of that because I think Ice Cube has some of the dopest beats in history. They still play Ice Cube stuff to this day. You could put on Check Yourself and people be like, oh, that's my joint. So Ice Cube had a lot of dope beats. A lot of people was inspired by Ice Cube's beats. So I wouldn't give Ice Cube a 7 for his rhythms. I disagree with that, but this is all objective. All right, so let's move on. Black Thought. He gave Black Thought an 87. He gave Too Short a 76 and Black Thought an 87. He didn't really respect what Too Short was doing. Gave him a C+, but he ranked them, which is dope. I think by putting Too Short on here, he's showing them respect. Even though he gave him 7, 8, 7, 8, 6, 8, 8, 8, 9, 7. He thought he was good at sticking to themes, right? Black Thought from the Roots. At this time, was almost unfair to rank him. It's good that he ranked him because he was in a group. And ain't many people on here that he put in that was in groups, right? But Black Thought was always subjective to what the Roots was doing. So he had to, it was a group mentality, and he had to do the songs that the group wanted to do. I'm sure, he brought his own thing to the table, but it wasn't just Black Thought. But he gave him a 10 on vocabulary, and this is back then. It's the 90s. And think about Black Thought right now. He's getting 10 across the board. But he gave him a 10, 9, 9, 9, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 9, 9. So he gave him an 87 right there with Snoop. And he had a high regard for Snoop. All right, so let's move on. Most Def, he gave him 85. Busta, he gave him a 93. Really respected Busta. 9, 8, 10, 10, 9, 9, 10, 10, 8, 10. And he gave Busta a 93, one of the highest ratings on here. I think Busta is the third highest rated person on here. It went Lauryn, Biggie, then Busta. And he really had T.H.E on here. He gave T.H.E a really good grade, an A. Gave Method Man an A, 91. Method Man was right there in the top 5. He's in his top 5 apparently. He gave Raekwon an 86, which I'm going to have to dispute that. But it is what it is. Basically he's saying Raekwon was better than Jay-Z and Nas at the time, which is, it depends. At the time, Raekwon was very nice. It was hard to debate that. He gave Common an 87, said Common was better than Jay-Z and Nas. I don't know what his problem with Nas was. He gave him 84. I don't know why. Maybe Nas hadn't come into his own yet. Then he gave Razzcast an 88. Tupac a 93. Biggie 95. So Biggie to him was better than Tupac. But by giving Tupac that 93, you're putting Tupac right there with Busta. And you're putting Tupac in the same lane as T.H.E, Method Man, and Lauryn Hill. So that's a big thing. And he didn't really rock with Mace. He gave him a 79. Puffy gave him, how you going to give Mace a 79 and Puffy an 80? How's Puffy better than Mace when Mace writing Puffy's rhymes? I don't understand that. Whatever. Then he gave Cannabis an 85, which is very high. So that means Cannabis, in his opinion, was better than Jay-Z, better than Nas, and better than Big Pun, better than Snoop, I'm sorry. Better than Corrupt and quite a few people. And at the time, people was giving Cannabis, they were saying Cannabis was the next king of rap, which really offended me because Cannabis hadn't even dropped his album yet, and they were saying he was going to be the king of rap. I really was irritated when the source was like, Cannabis had 2 collab features, 3 tops. He had the joint with the Lost Boys. He had the joint with, was it the joint where he was with Clue? He had a joint on there with Clue, a little collab, and he had a little freestyle. He had a couple freestyles on there like the next king of rap. I really was irritated. He hadn't even battled LL at nothing. Like they was giving him king of rap. I'm like, come on, bro. Let's make an album. Let him make an album. I was really irritated with that. But end of the day, they gave Cannabis an 85. They gave Buckshot Shorty an 83. He gave Buckshot Shorty an 83, saying Buckshot was better than Jay-Z. Right? In no world is Buckshot better than no Jay-Z. Even back then. Come on. Buckshot was dope. Don't get me wrong. But come on, Buckshot Shorty better than Jay-Z? Buckshot Shorty albums didn't play through like that. Them Black Moon albums was good, but they didn't play through like no Reasonable Doubt. You wasn't playing through them joints like that. Them joints, listen, Black Moon albums was dope, but they had skip material on there. That Reasonable Doubt, you ain't really skipping nothing on there. So chill out, right? So he gave Buckshot an 83. He gave Foxy an 82. Lil' Kim an 83. That was controversy. He gave Mac 10 an 83. I don't know why Mac 10's on here, but he gave him 83, which is a B. Sticky Fingers got an 88, which jumping him way above. And at that time, Sticky Fingers was very highly regarded with his rhymes. So I can't really say Sticky Fingers was nice, real nice. Sticky Fingers from Onyx, real nice. And he gave Mystikal a 90. So that's the whole list, which is he gave him an A. He was really saying Mystikal, which in hindsight, Mystikal cannot be a 90. Right? And in the moment, they're like, oh, yeah, because I think he was really detached from Mystikal, and giving Mystikal a 90 is not controversial. Right? Because really nobody's thinking about Mystikal like that to be like, oh, no. He wasn't beefing with anybody on this list, so there was no reason to not give him a 90, right? So he gave him a 90. Mystikal's nice. His energy's dope. But a 90, that means he better than Pun? Way better than Pun, right? As a matter of fact, Mystikal's better than the majority of this list. And according to Kool Moe Dee, he's the only person on his level is Tupac and Biggie, Busta Rhymes, T.H.E, and Lauryn Hill. Everybody else, he's saying, is Mystikal's better than them. I disagree with that very highly. And I don't have absolutely nothing that I agree that Mystikal's on the level of these guys. But it is what it is. Let me know what you think, man. It's just a man's opinion. It's subjective to what you feel is real hip-hop and real not hip-hop. I mean, what's not hip-hop. But it's all, it's all in fun. Don't take it too to the heart. It is what it is. Let me know what you think. Read the report card. Write in the comments who should have got the A+s, who should have got the B. Do you think Lauryn Hill is the best MC on this list? That would make her number one, right? Over everybody. Let me know what you think in the comments, man. Follow me on social media, CLBMG.com. Show your boy some love. And I'm going to catch y'all on the flip side. Hit the like button, subscribe. Peace.